Hey everybody, Brian again, back at an old haunt. I believe my very first episode took place at Eagle Marsh, Fort Wayne, Indiana. I took a rather boring walk towards the hospital and back. I did mention that there was another path I could take, and I'm on that right now. I started filming away from the road. You can kind of see way back there. There's a fairly popular road that runs along Eagle Marsh. In fact, it cuts it in half. The backside is the wetlands, and this is more the backside of the neighborhood, residential area. Runs along the school, too. Just got off of work. Had a really good day with the kids. I spend most of my time with 5th grade. Doing some good things with small group work. One of the classes, I have a math-based small group. They're doing a nice job with their prerequisites for what they're getting into this season. So I'm kind of bringing them up to where they need to be. I think it's going to be a good year. Last time it wasn't so good, but this time I think it's going to be great. It's Friday. Wonderful day. Late August. Birds chirping. This feels good. Feels good being out here. It's been cold here though. I think it dropped about 42, 43 a couple nights ago. Our air conditioning unit went out last week. Just got it replaced. Cost an arm and a leg, as you might imagine. Now it's all technologically advanced. It's something I don't really care about, but hey, it works. It'll probably save us money in the long run. So let's get into the WNBA. I am still adjusting, I guess, to what happened last night in Minnesota. Seattle came to town. Minnesota was doing a nice job in the first quarter, controlling things. Let it slip from there, and it became like a 88-30 something run or whatever it was. It was just a terrible showing. I'm not used to watching Minnesota do that poorly. In fact, the last game I saw them do that terribly was when they played in the Commissioner's Cup Championship. I don't know what it is about that team. It's still the best in my view, but when they're not on point, they are terrible. There's just no way around it. But here's the bright point. They didn't need that game. Before last night, they're up by 7 games over the next closest opponent, Atlanta, I believe. 7 games ahead, 7 games remaining. In the very least, just win one game in the final 7, you're fine. I even said in the comments before the game, you know what, just rest the starters. Get your second team out there, get them practiced up, get them ready for the playoffs. Gonna need them. But they played the starters. Nafisa was out there playing fairly well. Not to what I would say MVP levels, but still reliable, good. And I think I'm going to end it there. It's a bad game, one they didn't need. Hopefully they can pull off just one win in the next 6 or so. That'd be good enough. Final game this season for them is against the Aces. I don't know what they'll be doing in that game. If either team will be treating it terribly seriously. I have a suspicion that the Aces are going to win out. Serves them right. They're the hottest team in the league right now. Asia is putting up MVP numbers. I think if everything holds as it has been, I'm going to say Asia for MVP. I like what she's been doing lately. Fia's back. She was the front runner. Don't know if I buy it now, I think she's gone a bit too long. And with the games they have remaining, she may not be getting enough minutes. I wouldn't play her a lot. I really wouldn't. But I know she's a competitor. If there's an award for her to win, she's going to go for it. Because that's the sort of player she is. Great leader. I picked up the game after watching the Mystics. Now they're becoming one of my favorite teams to watch. I love Sonia. I've said that plenty of times now. I'm warming up to Kiki. I think they're a really good duo. I feel Sonia and Kiki, the way they play together, they are what Arike and Paige should be. And if you asked me maybe a month or two ago which duo I think would be better, I would have said Arike and Paige. But I think I'm wrong. I think it's Sonia and Kiki. I think they're fun to watch. I like Sonia's demeanor. She's very serious. She doesn't crack a lot of smiles. So when she does, it's a bit of a fun rarity there. I think she plays well. My goodness. For being a rookie, doing what she's doing already, it's just fantastic. I know Paige has put up 40 plus some odd points a number of days ago, but there's something about Sonia I just like. Man, it seems like every week that I make these videos, I have a different arrangement for this year's Rookie of the Year. Do I go with Paige? Do I go with Sonia? I don't know. I think it's going to have to come down to the end of the season. Dallas is out. Washington will probably be out, especially after that egg they laid last night against the Liberty, which segues me into the Liberty themselves. Now, not having a full team, not having their starters all together at the same time, that's rough for any team. They haven't had that since the very first game. But now, I looked at the injury report, and it appeared that Natasha, she was out. Brianna was back. Harrison is back. A number of folks are back into the game. And watching them just dismantle what Washington was trying to do, it was really eye-opening for me. I'm used to watching Minnesota and their second team put up really good numbers. Almost every single time there's somebody from the bench who scores at least 10 points. Heck, Jessica Shepard had a triple-double. Not a starter. But there's something about that New York team. When Sabrina's gone, John Quell's gone, Natasha's gone, Brianna comes back, that's just enough leadership for them. Harrison was great. Burke was pretty good. Their bench is really deep. And that's scary, because it affords them more time to get people healthy. But here's the thing. As we approach someone who is mowing, a lot of peripheral noise here right now. My apologies. But here's the thing. When the Liberty were going on their really mediocre streak, Brianna wasn't there. Sabrina was there. John Quell was partly there. When they are at their peak streak, meaning not completely 100% healthy, but when you have the big three there, they didn't look as good as they did last night. It makes me wonder what peak Liberty should be. I'm gonna run away from this guy here. Okay, got my running in there for the day. back to New York, when they are at peak 100%, I don't know if I trust them as much as I do when they are a little hurt, when they have to change their starters, when Johannes, Talbot get more minutes, Phoebish. That's a solid crew. Even though right now the Aces are the hottest team, I still fear the Liberty. Especially after last night's game between the Lynx and the Storm. I have no answers for that. It was a terrible game. But that's the Lynx with Nafisa. At full strength. There's nobody on injury report for them. That's concerning for me. Last time I checked, if the playoffs started right now, it would be Minnesota, Indiana. In the same side of the bracket as them is Phoenix. Presuming Phoenix wins, we have Minnesota, Phoenix in the second round. That's a tough game. Or tough series. What's nice, if things hold up as they are, we've got the Liberty and the Aces in the same side of the bracket. I will take that any day. I don't want to face them both. That's too much. Somebody's got to lose. I'm going to pause. Here's the backside of the school over here. I think this is one of the Catholic high schools, I believe. I don't remember. Not much going on over there. But if nothing gets shaken up too much, I like the prospect of the Liberty and the Aces kind of working themselves to a grind. One of them has to go. One of them has to fail, in the very least. Not sure who, but man, if it's Aces, Lynx in the finals, oh man, probably better than the Liberty and the Lynx from last year, especially with a 7-game format. Guess we'll see on that. What else is going on in the league? Aside from the injuries, Dallas, I think they have currently 7 people on the list. Thankfully, most are day-to-day, including Paige and Enrique. The majority of people across that injury list anyways should be coming back on Monday, Labor Day. I'm not sure what's going on with Caitlin. Seems like every time I look at the list, they give her an extra day. I don't know why. Indiana could use a better position if they're going to keep ahead of those who are trying to climb into the playoffs. That win by the Liberty helped out Indiana quite a bit. We'll see if that holds. So one thing I'd forgotten to talk about last time was in the episode prior to that, I mentioned how I was going to be on a boat. I was going to be on a boat that Saturday afternoon. And I enjoyed my time. I did. I love it every year. But this time around, because management of the financial group that kind of looks at my account and stuff, they want to bring people closer together who are on this ship. So they want everybody to wear name tags. So if you work for them, you already have your little magnetized plastic tag that you're wearing so everyone knows who you are. But then everyone else has the sticker. Hello, my name is. Well, I put my name, Brian, but underneath I put Minnesota Lynx Superfan. That way everyone who saw me could see that. Because I thought maybe someone here on this boat, on this ship, knows who that is. Because at least somebody there, because I know there's a lot of sports fans in this group. I've been on this boat many, many times. It's usually the college football NFL crew. But just as an experiment, I want to see if anybody recognized the Minnesota Lynx and would engage me in conversation. I'll give you 5 seconds to guess how many people out of, I want to say about 125 on this boat, came up to me and said, "Hey, you're a fan of the W?" "Why, yes, I am." So your 5 seconds are up. How many did you guess? 3? 5? Well, you'd be wrong. It was 0. Not a single person recognized and acknowledged and said a word about it. They let it go. Take from that what you wish. The W is just in a bad place. You wouldn't know it by the way they speak up the league. I understand why. They're riding that Caitlin wave as far as it goes. They're taking it into another wave generated by Paige. Next year it'll be Lauren Betts, AZ Fudd, etc., etc. But I really worry. There's something I have not talked about on these walks and talks that I've been avoiding for specific reasons. It's the problem of the CBA. As it stands, the outlook is bleak. It really does. There's a likelihood that there won't be a season for 2026. From what I understand, the ladies were given a certain offer, which you or I, in our realm of career, the jobs we hold, if we got the sort of pay raise that they were offered, we would be living it up. If I recall correctly, and it's very possible I did talk a little bit about this in other videos, but not too deeply with how I feel about it. But I believe it went from high 5 figures to semi-low 6 figures. Just for starting out in the league. The bare minimum. And doing the math on that, that was close to about 150%. That's what I'm trying to spit out here, because I get mosquitoes in my mouth. About 150% more. Are you telling me, all 4 listeners, that you wouldn't take that and be happy? I would take that right now in my job. In my current job, I work 5.75 hours. You know why it's such a weird number? Because 6 hours would allow me to get insurance. I have to get insurance elsewhere. No matter what I do for those kids, no matter what I do to improve their lives, their academics, their position in school, and generate more confidence, more patience, and resilience in them, I'm not worth the insurance. Effectively, in a few ways you could look at it, I'm trying to change their lives. Here we have basketball players. They're being told, look, here's what we can offer you. Let's go from $75,000 to whatever it was, $185,000, $200,000 a year, minimum. And they go, you know what? No, I don't like it. It's not enough. That's not a bigger piece of the pie in the way that we envision it. I'm thinking, what on earth is wrong with that offer? Well, it's the long-term thing. Sure, it's nice now, but we want basically the same piece of the pie that the W generates revenue-wise that the NBA does revenue-wise. And that's fine. That's better than saying, oh, we want the same pay as the guys. Well, you're not going to get that. As much as I love you, you're not getting that. Thankfully, they changed their tune on that. But they're still showing a lot of very self-centered greed on this. They haven't realized just how truly unpopular that league is. I can sit down, watch every game, and be happy. And there was a time there where I was watching every single game, not just skimming through. But even I, a supporter of women's basketball, a viewer of as many games as I can, have at my disposal, I don't think they're there. I don't think they're good enough. I don't think they're ready for it. They need to show more. Need to have more data. I think this is a good place to turn around. I'll explain here in a minute. You would think that these ladies, even though they're right in the assessment that not enough eyes have been on them, they're not getting enough attention, they're not being appreciated for what they bring to the game. I could agree with all that. But it's still not enough. They've got to do more. There's got to be a solution to this that actually supports what it is they're trying to do. And I just don't see it right now. It's going to take probably a good 5 to 10 years to get them where they think they need to be. And it's got to ride this wave of high quality, semi-transcendent players coming in from the college game, which means they've got to find a way to keep the interest high at the college level. Right now, it seems to be focused on two teams, UConn and South Carolina. If you count the number of UConn players in the league right now, it's astounding. Some teams, all right, you go to the bench, you go out there. They're switching Husky for Husky. I was never really a big fan of college basketball for the women. Men, sure, grew up with that. I was 9 years old when I watched Indiana win a championship. Even though they had before. It was 1987 when I watched that shot. Keith Smart in the corner. Boom. They win over Syracuse. The last time they were in a championship winning position. 2002, 2003, somewhere around there. Mike Davis is the coach. Up against Maryland. They lost the game. Should have won that. Since then, nothing. Nothing at all. Go back with college basketball very far, but never with the women. Not really. I remember seeing Taurasi and Bird. They were familiar names. Pat Summitt, late coach of the Tennessee Volunteers. And Gino Auriemma. Seems like he's always been a coach. I can't recall a time when UConn didn't have him as a coach. But then again, I don't know crap about women's college basketball. I'm still learning. I'm a new fan. I'm a new convert. What did it take to win me over? Caitlin. Arike in the WNBA. It took Arike in the WNBA and Caitlin in college basketball to change my mind. And of course, I could get into the talk of, oh, gee, Kaylin, well, she gets in the league, and now you're not watching because of us? You remember what Angel Reese said? Well, people don't watch for just one person. They watch for me, too. Well, she's right, but she doesn't know how ironic that is. There's got to be more generative power in the college game to help out the WNBA. Can't just be a bunch of Emma Miesemans coming over from the Euro leagues. You got to have it homegrown here. Will it last? I don't know. I try to catch games. I try to become familiar with the girls. March Madness. I'm doing a better job of that. I'm trying to care more. And I think I do. I think I care more right now about what happens in the women's game than I do the men's game. But what separates me from the average fan? Is it purely a case of throwing away biases in history? Experience? Maybe. I'm a Kentucky fan. I've gone to a few games. It's quite a drive, but it's worth it. Rupp's a great arena. Fans are awesome. I mentioned Indiana. I grew up liking them. I did go to one game. It was against Kentucky. Went down there thanks to my aunt and uncle, who at the time were season ticket holders. They really cared about it. Took my wife and I down there. I had a nice time. There's a picture of me with an Indiana shirt on. Kind of shudder to think of that, but I did. They ended up beating Kentucky. Bought a little basketball ornament for our Christmas tree. Wrote the score and the date on there. Hangs on the tree every year. I'll tell you what, Indiana fans are ruthless. If you even kind of wear any blue there in the old Assembly Hall, they're going to jump you like a, well, I'll try to keep it clean here. They don't like it. I started watching Kentucky after that. At the time, it was Billy Gillispie, John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins. Thought, you know what? I kind of like watching this team. Before you know it, John Calipari comes in, brings forth the one and done scenario, which eventually kind of killed things for me in the college game. Put things on notice for me. Spent a good 10 years watching Kentucky. A little more. Couldn't keep up. Who are these guys? Who in the world is on this team? I don't know. I can't keep up. Too many games. Wrong time of the year for me. I talked about that before. My enjoyment, of the NBA really fell off. Jeez. Load management problems? Seriously? Yeah, go ahead and sit. Earn your millions of dollars per game. Just sit. Those people out there in the stands who paid to see you while you're being paid to sit are kind of getting screwed. I've never been to an NBA game. I don't ever plan to. There is no one near me. I can't stand the Pistons, even though, hey, here's your factoid of the day. Pistons originated in my city, Fort Wayne, Indiana. The Fort Wayne Zollner Pistons. Here comes the creation of the National Basketball Association, and there go the Pistons. Right up north. Don't care about the Pistons. Cleveland sucks. Always knew them to be a terrible team. Prior to LeBron, they were nothing to me. They were the team that you wish your favorite team would play to get some wins. It's the truth. The Bulls, all right, I get it. His Majesty, Michael Jordan, king of basketball. I hated him. Hate everything about him. I was in the epicenter of junk. Virtually every direction there's a terrible team. Lakers, eventually Charlotte. Those are the teams I liked, and I stopped. If I see LeBron ever again in a uniform, it's too soon. I'm not ready for the... I didn't like their summer leagues. I don't care about that. I don't care what Luka Doncic, Tiny Dancer, whatever. I don't care what he's doing. Because I can tell you right now, if he's playing, as you listen to this, if he is playing basketball right now somewhere on this giant blue orb, he is undoubtedly yelling at an official, throwing his arms up. Why didn't you call the foul? Bleh. They lost me. NBA lost me. Now I'm for the W. How do we keep attention on the W? I don't know. But they had a good idea. Transcendent player captures the hearts and the minds of both the basketball fan and the curious. How do you get curious people to come on over and watch? Do you load up on expansion teams while you can't even figure out how the players are going to get paid? I don't think that was a good move. I think they're putting their eggs in one basket right now. I think they're gambling. That's not good. I talked about before the scheduling, atrocious. Please. Last year it was Indiana they screwed over. This year is New York and Minnesota. Who's it going to be next season? The officiating is questionable. Nobody wants to sit there and watch these guys and girls study the minors. They just don't want to do that. Here we go again. This guy's mowing the hell out of his lawn. I have to come over here, do a quick jog, get out of his way. Okay, I think we're good. And that might be a growing gripe. A growing gripe of mine. I feel we are too loose with the challenges. I get that some of them are really proper. Coach Cheryl Reeve of the Lynx is very, very good about when to challenge things. Seems to win virtually every time. Virtually. But then there's times I see them and they're just looking for this, the little tiny bit of information where someone may have had a glancing blow against somebody's eyelash. Oh, is that a foul? Well, let's look at the monitors. Let's get all three of us standing over there to deliberate for 3.5 minutes, grinding the game to a screeching halt. Great. That doesn't help. I can do without that. I gotta bring up again the physical play. It's not good. It doesn't seem real to me. It seems to be the result of awkward players getting themselves hurt, putting themselves in harm's way. Let me put it that way. Let's talk about Natasha Cloud. I watched that game. She's up on, I think it was, for some reason I want to say Dolson. No, it was Brianna Jones of the Sun. That's who it was. She takes a hard smack right to the nose. She is still day to day on the injury report. She's been out like 2 or 3 games now. What in the world happened? You can check the injury list. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is. Just day to day. No notes. Who knows? Before that Liberty game last night, I was expecting, geez, this is going to be a really tough game for Washington. And it ended up being that way for a different reason. And they said, well, Sabrina's out. Why? I don't know. Day to day. I thought it was shoulder. Might be something else. Who knows? John Quell's out. Illness. Must have been a game time decision. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 teams that seem to be skating by without heavy injury problems. This league only plays, 44, 46 games right now, expected to expand in future years. Injury bug. Woo! And these aren't just B-teamers. These are big-time players. Those who carry their teams, essentially. Does that help to have a nationally broadcast game with the idea that certain players are going to have the spotlight and they're not there? What exactly is wrong with Caitlin? They had to move a bunch of games because of her. A bunch of deals were made with networks, Prime, CBS, to have her games. It's almost like they're saying, you know what? We acknowledge the WNBA is more popular right now, and we know why. And we'd like to get into this game too. We'd like to broadcast fever games, keeping them away from the app that perhaps you pay for the way that I do. But we at least get to see them afterwards. Not live. Go watch Prime. Go watch CBS Sports Network. Stay away from the app. If you want to see Caitlin, it's almost like the old wrestling pay-per-views. You can watch this live or not at all. But you can watch it on the Tuesday of the following week if you want to pay again. So if you didn't pay the first time, you could pay to watch it the second time on that Tuesday for a Sunday pay-per-view originally. She's become pay-per-view television, basically. Is that good? No. You know what else isn't good? When I'm watching an Indiana Fever game where she's sitting on the bench, but everybody in the stadium is wearing a t-shirt with her little, man, these gnats, whew, with her logo on it. And if you haven't seen Caitlin's logo yet, it's atrocious. It is one of the ugliest logos I've ever seen for an individual. And I've seen a lot of them. LeBron's is terrible. It's terrible. But hers takes the cake. The best way I can describe it is, if you have somebody in your life who loves fashion, either high-end or mid-high-end fashion, or perhaps Macy's department store level fashion, and they buy Coach, it's almost like you take the letters in their logo and you flip them around a little bit and have them overlap each other. That's what you get. You get these two C's. They overlap, but then there's like these weird arrangements of some sort of weird shapes and symbols in the center. Can't quite make sense of. It's very unclean. It doesn't look good. It's not streamlined in the least. It's ugly. I'd never wear it on a shirt. I like Caitlin. I do. I don't like her logo. I feel they could have done better with that. She definitely could have done better with that. But that's kind of where we're going. If you think about it, is that what the WNBA is going to be from an attention standpoint? We're creating miniature business moguls, high-end celebrities. They're going to get their brand out there. They're going to have their merchandise made specifically for them. And of course, that comes with the typical logo, symbology, something of that sort. They're going to flood the arenas with that, making everyone who's at the games wear their clothing because it looks good on TV. Hey, look what we're promoting here. We're promoting one of our players' personal business ventures. Is that what they should be doing? I don't know. I don't know the rule on that. Seems weird to me. Not that it's unfair, but then again, it could be unfair. Are they going to do that for everybody? I don't know. It seems like the biggest players in that league are going to be raptured up into the world of advertising and marketing. So now, in order to like this league, the sort of attention they're trying to pull, you have to connect with these specific players and buy their stuff. That's going to keep the league alive. It's not unusual, I guess. We lived through Air Jordans. I was a little kid when those came out. He's not the only one. I think Kobe had a shoe. Didn't Shaq have a shoe? Nike loved doing that stuff. Reebok. I think Reebok had some players. But it felt different. It didn't feel like that was integral to the success of the NBA. It seems it is for the W. Like without that, there's no league. And I'm curious how much of the money generated by the player's personal likeness, logo, merchandise, product goes back to the league. I don't know. We'll see kind of how this works in future years, if there are future seasons. So I'm winding myself back to where I'd started. Get all this peripheral noise from the cars and such. So I got to come up with a good tagline for this video. I haven't really talked too much about the good things this time. That game last night with the Lynx was terrible. Started off great, and it's like, you know what? We don't need this, and they didn't. But still, come on. Don't let the foe walk off your court doing your dance that you do for the fans when you win the game. Don't let them do that. Skylar Diggins is a great player. I get it. But she is sour. She looks like she plays as if someone had passed away recently that she cared for. She just has that look. I'll tell you what, even though they lost, and I'm going to talk about the Mystics again for a second, even though they lost, and they lost big, for a variety of factors. I think the main reason is the Liberty's bench is just that good. But they struggled to shoot. Sonia was great in the first half, 15 points the first half. Second half, I think she fell asleep. But I like what Kiki was doing. Kiki is really growing on me. Kiki and Sonia, as stated about 40 minutes ago, those two are great. I like the Mystics. I will take that loss by the Mystics if it means Kiki and Sonia are getting closer. That they're being the pair that we expect them to be. It may not happen this season. It maybe next season. I think they still have, 400 draft picks for next season, something like that. They should have a better team next season. I think they're going to be a top team. I don't know what the Lynx and the Liberty are going to do. If they're going to keep that same core. I kind of feel New York, they should start parting ways with one of their top three, in the very least. Maybe John Quell could leave. Maybe Sabrina could go somewhere. She's so good. She's so good that she looks angry. She looks angry every time she plays. She's that determined. She's a pro. But there's something about the way she tries to overrun the game that doesn't sit well with me. Forcing up those long shot threes from logos from everywhere, getting lucky with a few. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good for the team. I feel Brianna, John Quell, and Natasha, that's a good core. I'd like to see Sabrina on a different team. I'm going to put that right there, right now. Sabrina on a different team next season, I'm all for it. She's good, but I think she needs to come back down to team play. Maybe there's a team out there that would welcome her with open arms and say, look, you are our vet. You're going to do for us what Kelsey has done for the Sparks. We're going to rebuild with some young talent. Man, imagine seeing her as a Mystic. Kind of like it. But guess what? End of the walk. I might try to get another video out tomorrow. Not sure what I'll talk about. And try to catch some games I've missed. And I'll catch you again another time. All right. Have a good Labor Day weekend if I don't hear from you or if you don't see me again. And take care.